Number. Chapter 1. Rebirth. My daughter was murdered by a serial killer. For 20 years, I hunted him down, desperate to bring him to justice. Yet, even in the end, he refused to admit he had killed her. Meanwhile, my ex-husband had married my own younger sister. They lived a life of perfect bliss, blessed with children and domestic harmony. I, on the other hand, had worked myself to the bone, eventually succumbing to late-stage liver cancer. On my deathbed, my sister finally leaned in and whispered the truth. She was the one who killed my daughter and buried her body. She was also the one who had encouraged me to obsessively pursue the killer after my divorce, pretending to support my quest for justice. Step by step, she had cleared every obstacle in her path to steal everything I owned. With the last of my strength, I lunged forward and shoved her out of the window, dragging us both down to our deaths. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn. It was the morning of the day my daughter disappeared. Mommy, am I in the underworld? Is that why I can hear my daughter's voice so clearly? Mommy, let's go. I snapped my eyes open. A pair of small, chubby hands were tugging at the hem of my skirt. My daughter was looking up at me, her voice as sweet as honey. I couldn't believe it. I reached out, trembling, to touch her face. Her skin was warm and soft. Looking around, the scenery was both distant and agonizingly familiar. This was my home, 20 years ago. I had really been reborn. Today, my daughter and I were supposed to go to the riverbank to fly kites. The person who had invited us was my younger sister, Cheng-Ni. I glanced at the clock. In 3 hours, she would make her move. Just then, my phone rang. Just like in my previous life, it was Cheng-Ni urging me to hurry up. My sister had been lazy since childhood. The fact that she had proactively prepared everything for a barbecue was highly suspicious. In my past life, I hadn't noticed these details. I answered the phone. Sister, have you brought Qian out yet? Cheng-Ni's voice was slightly shaky. This was her first time committing murder. She must have been terrified. If I hadn't lived through it once already, I never would have connected these dots. In this life, I would make sure she suffered the most miserable existence imaginable. We're on our way, I replied cheerfully. As we walked, I looked back on our past. I was 5 years older than Cheng-Ni. I had been both a sister and a mother to her, caring for her with every bit of my heart. I never dreamed she could be so heartless as to kill her own niece and ruin my life. We grew up in a remote village. Our parents worked away from home, leaving us in the care of our elderly grandmother, who barely paid us any attention. I raised Cheng-Ni myself. When I was in high school, my father broke his leg in an accident. The family lost its breadwinner. My parents decided we both had to drop out of school. My grades were excellent, top of the class. My teachers said getting into a top-tier university wouldn't be a problem, but I was the oldest, the only one capable of working to support the family. I said a tearful goodbye to my education, but I made my parents promise one thing. The money I sent home was to keep Cheng-Ni in school. I refused to let her follow my path. Every month, no matter how little I earned, I only kept 100 dong for myself and sent the rest home. Yet, Cheng-Ni failed to meet my expectations. She only made it into a mediocre vocational college. I didn't blame her, I blamed myself. I thought the rural schools were too poor, and that I should have worked harder to move her to a city school. To take better care of her and ensure she wasn't led astray by the city's temptations, I moved to the city where she studied. I worked nearby and rented a room. Every week, she brought me her dirty laundry to wash. She complained that the school food was terrible, so whenever she visited, I cooked an elaborate feast. When she wasn't there, I survived on plain vegetables to save money. Later, I met my husband, So Lam. My drifting life finally felt stable. I knew Cheng Ni admired So Lam's handsome looks and success, but when I first met him, he was a struggling, disheveled entrepreneur. Back then, she would have looked down on him. People like her only love to harvest the fruits of someone else's labor. The barbecue spot Cheng Ni chose was a secluded riverbank with fine sand, hidden among the mountains. It was a viral spot that hadn't been fully developed yet. In my previous life, the police told me the area lacked surveillance and witnesses, making it impossible to find clues. They also mentioned that 2 murders had occurred nearby just 2 weeks prior. A young couple and an elderly fruit seller had been killed. At the time, So Lam blamed me. He said I was too sheltered, a housewife who ignored the news. He called me useless mud that couldn't stick to a wall. After Quian disappeared, Cheng Ni stayed by my side constantly. She couldn't have pulled this off alone. I didn't know if So Lam was her accomplice yet, but if he was, I wouldn't show him any mercy. I arrived at the spot with my daughter. Quian was happily running across the sand with her kite. I clenched my fists, swearing to protect this innocent child. Just like before, Cheng Ni claimed she forgot to buy water and asked me to go to the roadside shop. I teased her, "You're a grown woman, and you still can't handle the little things? Whoever marries you is marrying a headache." Cheng Ni looked startled. It was the first time I'd ever been sharp with her, but she wouldn't turn on me yet. Otherwise, she'd look suspicious when the child went missing. She smiled and said, "My legs hurt, sis. Please go for me." I stood up and brushed the sand off my pants. "Watch Quian closely. She's little and tends to wander." Aye, Captain," Cheng Ni joked, giving a mock salute. By the time I returned with the water, Cheng Ni and Quian were gone. My best friend, Ha Bao Cam, was sitting by the grill eating beef skewers. She winked at me and gave a thumbs up. Moments later, Cheng Ni came running back, frantic and tearful. "Sister, Quian is gone." I frowned. "What do you mean, gone?" She sobbed. "I was just grilling meat, and in the blink of an eye, she disappeared. I looked everywhere." Ha Bao Cam interjected calmly, "Are you playing a prank on your sister?" Cheng Ni froze, only just noticing Bao Cam was there. What are you doing here?" "I have the day off," Bao Cam said slowly. "Tam told me she was having a barbecue, so I joined. Besides, when I arrived, I saw you leading Quian across the road. How can you say she's missing?" Cheng Ni's face turned deathly pale. I pretended it was a joke and patted her shoulder. "All right, bring her out now. Her favorite beef is ready." Just then, my phone buzzed. It was a message from a friend. Quian is safe. The man who had taken Quian was Chu Ki, Cheng Ni's thuggish boyfriend from college. They hadn't been together long. She had supposedly broken up with him after I found out about his bad reputation. Now, I suspected she only dated him to find an accomplice. Knowing Quian was safe, I stopped playing nice. I pushed Cheng Ni back. "Go get her. Now. She's only 5. It's dangerous for her to be alone." Cheng Ni didn't move, likely scrambling for an excuse. Finally, she feigned a sob. "I'm so sorry, sis. I really don't know where she went." I immediately called the police. They arrived quickly. Ha Bao Cam testified that she saw Cheng Ni holding Quian's hand by the road. She even produced a photo. I thought the pink dress looked pretty against the green background, so I snapped a picture. With the evidence staring her in the face, Cheng Ni had to confess. She admitted she gave the girl to Chu Kai, but she claimed Chu Kai wasn't answering his phone and she didn't know where they were. Of course he wasn't answering. My friend had knocked him unconscious and dumped him in the middle of nowhere. She tried to play it off as a prank that went wrong, hoping to shift the blame to Chu Kai. When So Lam heard the news, he rushed to the station. I threw myself into his arms, wailing about how Cheng Ni had kidnapped our daughter for ransom. So Lam seemed shocked. She doesn't seem like that kind of person. I watched him closely. Was he truly ignorant or a master actor? I refused to back down. If anything happens to my daughter, I'll make sure she rots in prison. Chung-ni was taken into custody. So Lam followed me home. Ha Bao-kam pulled me aside later, confused by my sudden aggression toward the sister I used to dote on. I thought you couldn't bear to see her upset? I couldn't explain the rebirth. I just hugged her. I've realized I was wasting my life on people who don't deserve it. In my past life, So Lam had driven a wedge between Bao-kam and me. She eventually died after a tragic accident, but I found out later she had spent her final years trying to help me find my daughter. In this life, I would protect our friendship. I told Bao-kam that So Lam and Cheng-ni were conspiring against me. She was furious. He's a monster. To his own daughter? So Lam doesn't care about women, I said. He has other motives. I'm going to unmask him, piece by piece. Where is Qian now? She asked. With Jian Hao, I replied. Bao-kam frowned. So Lam's best friend? The one you always hated? Are you sure? His feelings for me are real, I said. He'd walk through fire for me. I had met Jian Hao through So Lam. He was an orphan who looked up to So Lam like a big brother. After we married, he moved into our small house. Because he'd had a rough childhood, I treated him with kindness, cooking his favorite meals, buying him clothes, and caring for him when he had surgery. Jian Hao had eventually confessed his love for me, but I had dismissed him as a scoundrel back then. Yet, after Qian disappeared in my first life, Jian Hao was the only one who protected me for 20 years. He was the one crying by my bedside when I was dying. He meant what he said. So, in this life, I called him for help. He didn't hesitate. Back at home, my father called. Tam, you can't hurt your sister. We're family. She kidnapped my daughter, I screamed back. He had the audacity to say, she's also your mother's daughter. If something happens to her, how will you face your mother? His logic was laughable. Their daughter mattered, mine didn't. In my past life, they blamed me for losing the child. They pressured me to have another one with So Lam. But once So Lam and Cheng-ni married, they lived together like one big, happy family. They clearly knew what Cheng-ni had done. The next day, the police caught Chu Kai. He tried to claim he hadn't agreed to the kidnapping, but he couldn't explain the head injury, where my friend had hit him. The focus shifted back to Cheng-ni. My parents arrived at my house, ready to beg for mercy. I didn't give them the chance. I attacked first. You spoiled her. You always made me give in to her. You made her feel like hurting my daughter was okay, because you'd always back her up. They were speechless. My mother tried to talk about family unity, but I cut her off. If I don't have Qian, this family can rot. I started a live stream to find my daughter, forcing So Lam to appear with me. He was reluctant, claiming it would spook the kidnapper, but I threatened him until he complied. The live stream was a hit. Cheng-ni became public enemy number 1. Former co-workers came forward, accusing her of jealousy and petty theft. Someone even leaked photos of her working as a bar hostess. When I visited her in custody, she was a wreck. She tried to apologize, claiming she was possessed by a demon because she was jealous of my perfect life. She admitted she tried to seduce So Lam and that he had told her he loved her but couldn't be with her because of the child. He never visited you once, did he? I interrupted. I knew So Lam. He wasn't a slave to lust. Cheng-ni was just a tool for him. In my past life, their first child died at his hands. She was next on his list, though she didn't know it. I don't care about your excuses, I told her. You deserve this. When I told So Lam what she said, he acted outraged. That shameless woman, she's trying to drag me down. Soon, A convenient video surfaced online showing So Lam rejecting Cheng Ni's advances at his garage. His reputation was instantly restored. He was seen as a faithful husband being harassed by a crazy sister-in-law. I watched the video. So Lam's eyes were fixed on the camera. He was the director of this entire drama. My parents begged me to sign a letter of leniency for Cheng Ni. I agreed on one condition. Give me the deed to the family land in the village. Make me the head of the household. My father exploded. I'm not dead yet. How can you be so greedy? Compared to you two, I'm a saint, I countered. You don't care about your granddaughter. If you want Cheng Ni out, pay the price. They wavered, but eventually agreed. Finally, the people I was waiting for arrived, a withered country woman and a young man. So Lam tried to shoo them away, but I stopped him. I'm So Lam's mother-in-law, the woman wailed. I played shocked. So Lam? You were married before? He looked guilty. Tam, I was afraid you'd leave me. My first wife passed away. The woman lunged at him. Give me my daughter's money. You took the insurance payout and ran. A crowd gathered. The police were called. It turned out, So Lam had a village wedding with a girl who later died in a freak electrical accident while pregnant. So Lam had taken the insurance money and vanished. He'd used a fake ID back then, which was why he had no record of a previous marriage. So Lam tried to tell me it was all for us, that he'd used the money to pay off debts. I pretended to be heartbroken. What else are you hiding? He begged for forgiveness, but I started a new live stream hinting at his past. People started speculating. Did he buy insurance for Quian too? Was the kidnapping a plot to collect more money? The public turned on him. People threw eggs at his garage. I kicked him out of the bedroom. Believe me, Tam, it was an accident, he sobbed. I ignored him and called Jian Hao. How is she? She's fine, he said. Just crying a bit. How much longer? Soon, I whispered. I heard a thud outside. The broom by the door had fallen. I rushed to the office. So Lam was gone, and so was his car. I took a taxi to Jian Hao's old house in the mountains. By the time I arrived, the police were already there. They had Jian Hao pinned to the ground. An officer carried a drowsy Quian out of the shack. So Lam rushed forward, playing the hero. My daughter! We're going home! Jian Hao looked at me, desperate. Tam, tell them, you gave her to me. It's a misunderstanding. I looked him in the eye, my expression cold. I have no idea what you're talking about. I would never give my daughter to a man like you. Are we even that close? At the station, I produced messages from Jian Hao professing his love for me. He was obsessed, I told the police. When I rejected him, he kidnapped my child for revenge. Jian Hao's eyes turned red with fury. You poisonous woman, why are you doing this to me? I leaned in and mouthed 2 words. Trin Yen. His face went pale. Jian Hao, I said aloud, you claim you love me because I cared for you, but was that really the only reason you approached me? Jian Hao looked as though his soul had been ripped from his body. He slumped to the ground, and the 2 officers didn't even bother to touch him, letting him lie there like a heap of formless mud. In my previous life, he had spent 20 years by my side searching for my daughter. He never left me, and I was never satisfied with him. I didn't doubt his feelings for me. A love born of mutual warmth is often the most reliable kind. Firstly, I had been truly kind to him. Secondly, he didn't believe he could ever have a complete marriage or love with anyone else. Because of the death of So Lam's first wife, Jian Hao was also an accomplice. One man took his wife on a trip, while the other quietly slipped into the house to tamper with the rice cooker, ensuring So Lam wouldn't be suspected of murder. After So Lam and I married, he sent Jian Hao to seduce me. He wanted to catch me in an affair, so he could force me to buy insurance policies as compensation for his dignity. I never took the bait. Later, when Qian came along, I think So Lam was momentarily touched by my sincerity and wanted to live a good life with me. But eventually, he grew tired. He realized that wealth was more important, and killing Qian was far easier than killing me. In my previous life, when I was dying and blind, Jian Hao stayed by my bedside and confessed his role in So Lam's murderous schemes. He cried, saying that if he could do it all over again, he would have refused and accepted his punishment. That way, he could have lived his days with me openly, without the constant fear of his secrets being exposed. He believed himself to be deeply devoted, yet he never realized that his silence cost me half my life. If he had shown me So Lam's true face from the beginning, I never would have suffered for that scum. In this life, I decided to grant him his wish. If he truly wanted to atone, he should tell the truth and drag So Lam down to hell with him. Chapter 3. When we left the police station, So Lam and I acted perfectly calm, holding our child like a reunited, happy family. But the moment we reached the garage, So Lam snapped. "Trin Tam, you did this on purpose, didn't you?" he hissed. "You let me overhear you talking to Jian Hao. You lured me into finding him so I'd hand him over to the police myself." He suddenly realized something and bit his tongue. "How much do you know?" I let out a cold laugh. "Is there anything about you I don't know?" He took a sharp breath, looking at me with growing suspicion. Just then, Ha Baokam pulled up in her car to pick up Qian and me. "You're leaving me?" So Lam asked. "Why wouldn't I? Should I sit around and wait for you to suck the blood out of me and my daughter?" I looked him dead in the eye. "I'm leaving. I don't want Qian to see the sight of you being led away in handcuffs. At least let her keep one good memory of you." I had Baokam put Qian in the car first. I turned back to So Lam. "You plotted against me first, so don't blame me for being heartless. You're drowning in debt. I'm not just divorcing you, I'm taking half the shop. The law says gambling debts aren't a communal responsibility." He was a master of disguise. If not for my past life, I would still see him as a hard-working, steady man. I never would have guessed he was a gambling addict. "You!" He gnashed his teeth in fury. On the way to Baokam's house, Qian asked softly, "Mommy, are we really not living with Daddy anymore?" I stroked her head. "Daddy is going far, far away. You won't see him for a long time. You need to accept that your father is a bad man." I had overestimated Jian Hao. I thought his remorse in the previous life was genuine, but the truth is, humans always seek gain and avoid harm. Seeing he couldn't escape the charges, he only admitted to kidnapping Qian out of revenge. Since there was no ransom and no physical harm, the sentence wouldn't be heavy. Admitting to being an accomplice in the murder of So Lam's first wife, however, was a major crime. He stayed silent on that. So Lam even called me to gloat. "Trin Tam, you calculated everything, but you didn't account for human nature. People will always protect themselves first. So what if you know everything?" "Without evidence, I'm a clean man." "I'll be filing for divorce," I replied tonelessly. So Lam didn't care about my anger, only about the assets. "You can't escape me. As long as Qian exists, you'll never be free." When a man loses his core interests, he becomes manic. So Lam now had a reputation for being a wife killer and insurance fraudster. Finding another wife to scam under the watchful eyes of the internet would be impossible. To avoid bringing trouble to Baokam, I moved out. She protested. "We've been friends for 10 years. We face hardships together." I patted her shoulder. "Don't worry, I have a way to deal with him." I moved to a quiet, developing area in Bahua town. The rent was cheap and the neighborhood was secluded. I had barely finished cleaning when So Lam found me. He stood at the entrance of the complex with a banner, weeping and wailing to passers-by about his suffering. He claimed he had invited a wolf into his home by trusting the wrong friend. But now that the criminal was caught, he hoped his wife and daughter would come home. His goal was clear: use us to salvage his good husband image. If he could convince everyone we were still a family, the court wouldn't easily grant a divorce or divide the assets. He wanted to wear me down until I either gave up or returned to a life of dancing with a wolf. So, Lamb thought he knew me. He thought I was soft-hearted and couldn't stand to see my friends suffer. He began harassing Baucam at her design firm, accusing her of ruining our marriage. He even went to my landlord, claiming her renting to me was breaking up a family. This time, I didn't play the strong woman. I chose to play the victim. I went on livestream, sobbing about how I couldn't bear the constant harassment and my fear of Lamb. I even wrote a suicide note, stating that I would rather pay with my life than return to existence of constant terror. Lamb called me, cursing, "You idiot, you think I'm afraid of the internet? There's a new scandal every month. Your clout will fade. I'll just move somewhere else, get a little work done to look younger, and no one will know who I am." I paused for a few seconds, pretending to break. "Fine, come over, bring the divorce papers, we can negotiate the terms." I waited all night, Lamb never showed up. When the first rays of sunlight hit the room, I stretched my back. The dawn I had been waiting for had finally arrived. Lamb had been killed in an alley not far from my house. He had been a victim of the serial killer, a precise, single fatal cut to the throat. His blood had stained the pavement. A sanitation worker found him at dawn and called the police. A crowd had gathered. I pushed through, wailing, "That looks like my husband." The police let me identify the body. Looking at that bloodless face, I felt a wave of pure relief. It's him, thank God. I looked up at the crowd of onlookers. After a moment, I spotted a familiar figure. I had spent 20 years hunting him in my last life. He was hard to find, not because he was a mastermind, but because he seemed so ordinary, a kind, gentle man no one would ever suspect. I had gathered enough data to know his victims weren't random. The couple he killed had been scammers who stole a farmer's medical fund, causing his child to die. The elderly woman had stolen her grandson's welfare money, leaving the boy to freeze to death under a bridge. He was a man who reached out to provide a twisted kind of justice for those who couldn't find it elsewhere. I knew he was active in this area at this exact time in my previous life. The man watched the scene for a moment, then turned and walked away, bored. I watched his back disappear into the distance. "Did he have any enemies?" the police officer asked, pulling me from my thoughts. "His reputation was quite poor," I said softly. "He was a heavy gambler. He had many enemies. I'm afraid it will be very hard to find the killer."